This is a doughnut. It has 10 grams of sugar. This is a serving of pasta sauce. It also has 10 grams of sugar. The crazy part? The sugar is there to hide the fact that you're paying $4 for less than 50 cents worth of actual food. Today, we're exposing the sweet secret and the bitter truth hiding in your pantry. You've seen the label 1,000 times. It shows a picture of a rustic Italian villa, maybe a smiling grandmother with a wooden spoon. The words promise an old-world style, a traditional recipe. It's a powerful story, sold to us in a glass jar. The story of convenience, the story of family dinner made simple. And for decades, we all bought it. This dream didn't start in Italy. It started in a garage in Rochester, New York, where a man named Hector Cantasano started selling his family's sauce. He called it ragu. Soon after, Campbell's Soup launched a competitor. They called it Prego. It was thicker, sweeter, engineered for the American palate. The great sauce wars of the 1980s had begun, and with it, the idea of homemade sauce started to fade. It became something our grandparents did, something that took too long, was too complicated. The jar was just easier. That's the dream they sold you. A simple story of tradition in a convenient package. But the truth is, the story is a fantasy, and what's actually in the jar is far from traditional. The journey of that sauce doesn't start in a sun-drenched tomato field. It begins with this, a massive 300-gallon bin of dense, dark tomato paste. This paste is the lifeblood of the industry. It's cheaper to ship than actual tomatoes. It's perfectly consistent year-round. No seasonal variations, no imperfections. Inside a factory, the paste is pumped into enormous steam kettles. Then comes the water, lots of water. In fact, that 24-ounce jar in your pantry, it can be up to 90% water. You're buying flavored water, not crushed tomatoes. Next come the aromatics, not fresh onions or garlic. The powders, dehydrated, industrial grade. Then comes the fat, not extra virgin olive oil, but cheaper canola or soybean oil. For thickness, they add modified food starches. It's a chemical shortcut to get the texture right. A classic homemade sauce has maybe 5 ingredients: tomatoes, garlic, onion, olive oil, basil. The industrial version? It can have over a dozen. Additives you can't pronounce, and ingredients no Italian grandmother would ever recognize. It's a marvel of food science. Engineered for profit, not for flavor. But there's one ingredient that's more important than all the others. An ingredient they add in shocking amounts: sugar. So, why add sugar in such shocking amounts? The companies will tell you it's to balance the acidity of the tomatoes. That's only part of the truth. The real reason is much more calculated. They use it to hide the taste of cheap, low-quality paste. It's a mask for a bland product, but it's also a weapon. In the world of food science, there's a term for it. It's called the bliss point, the perfect combination of salt, sugar, and fat. A formula engineered to make food as craveable as possible. It's the science of addiction, and it's usually reserved for junk food, for candy, for soda. But the food giants took that same science and put it in your dinner. Remember that doughnut? With 10 grams of sugar. That half-cup serving of Prego? 10 grams of sugar, it's a betrayal of trust. You think you're eating a savory, healthy meal, but you're unknowingly feeding your family a dose of sugar. That belongs in the dessert aisle. This sweet deception is the key to their business model. But it's only one half of the scam. The other half is what they charge you for it. So, what should a jar of this sugary tomato-flavored water actually cost? Let's break down the numbers. Let's build a $4 jar of sauce from the ground up. First, the ingredients: the tomato paste, the water, the sugar, the cheap oil. All of it totals around 50 cents, sometimes less. Next, the packaging. The glass jar, the metal lid, the printed label, that costs around 75 cents. Think about that. The jar is often more expensive than the food inside. Manufacturing and labor adds another quarter. Shipping and distribution costs about 40 cents. And marketing, the TV ads, the coupons, the nonna story, that's another 50 cents of the price tag. So, before it even hits the grocery store shelf, we're at about $2.40. The final piece of the puzzle is the retailer's markup, the grocery store's profit, and that can be over $1 all by itself. So when you pay $4 for that jar, you're paying 50 cents for food and $3.50 for everything else. You're not a customer buying a meal. You are the final stop in a long, profitable supply chain, a system that has perfected the art of selling you a cheap product at a premium price. But if the product is so mediocre, how did one brand prove there was a better way by charging even more? For years, the sauce aisle was a race to the bottom, a battle of cents fought with cheaper ingredients and more sugar. Then, this showed up, Rao's Homemade, at $10 a jar, a defiant price tag, and it ignited a revolution. Its recipe wasn't a formula, it was a statement, a declaration that real ingredients mattered. No paste, no added water, no soybean oil, and absolutely no added sugar. They weren't selling a science experiment, they were just selling sauce. The runaway success of Rao's is the ultimate indictment of the industry. It is undeniable proof that millions of us are desperate for an alternative, that we will gladly pay a 300% premium to escape the watery, sugary products we've been sold for decades. And the industry noticed. The giants who perfected the 50-cent sauce watched this $10 jar take over their turf, and they did what giants always do. The company that owns Prego, Campbell's, bought Rao's for nearly $3 billion. They couldn't beat the real thing, so they bought it. They now own the problem and the expensive solution. But the real escape hatch isn't another jar. It's a simple recipe and about 20 minutes of your time. So, how do you escape the system? You make the sauce yourself. And no, it doesn't take all day. It takes about the time it takes to boil pasta. Here's the takedown. Half an onion, a couple of cloves of garlic, less than $1. A splash of good olive oil, about 30 cents. That's it. That's your shopping list. You gently cook the onion and garlic in the oil. Add the tomatoes, a pinch of salt. Let it simmer for 20 minutes while the pasta cooks. The total cost for a batch that's bigger than 2 jars? Around $3. That's about $1.20 per jar. No added sugar, no soybean oil, no natural flavors, just real food. For less than a third of the price of the cheap stuff, and for a fraction of the price of Rao's. The taste? It's not even a competition. That's the ultimate secret. The best sauce in the world isn't on a shelf, it's on your stove. So the next time you're in the grocery store and you see that wall of red jars, you'll know the story. You'll know what you're really paying for, and you'll know the difference between what is sold and what is real. That is spaghetti economics.